We can.
Yes. I'm Kasper. I want to say a few things straight before I start, and it's not a catastrophic thing. 3 years ago, I got brain cancer, and the interesting thing was I'm still here, so happy, and I'm fully cured. But one of the things I lost was my ability to read. I'm like in second class now. So I can't read, and that has been an interesting thing because now I use the computer to read every single text for me, and so you will hear me often do something like this and select a piece of text and ask it to explain it to me.
Who is Kasper Østerbye? If you have not heard about him, just say sorry, I do not know.
So I mix between, because I can't read that text. So that is not the key thing, but that is what happened to me in May last year, was that I suddenly discovered, hey, if I'm using the AIs, I'm actually able to code again, because that was lost for me, but now suddenly it's back. So that's my angle into the AI, and that is they help me to be whom I am. That is a verified nerd. I can code now because I can ask them what do they have there, etc., etc. So that is the background. So I can't read very well. And the other thing was I was losing the word of what is the capital of France, and it was Paris. So if I will sometimes ask the whole group for for something that is pretty obvious, but for me it is particularly gone at the second, and it's super annoying. But I decided not to be annoyed, but to see it as a fantastic opportunity to look into new areas that I wasn't working on before. So that's the background. Now I'll go on to the real thing. So I used to be a professor at universities and do my stuff. I was dean of the entire university of the IT University of Copenhagen. So I was responsible for sort of every education that was taking place. So I had sort of a boring background. Now I'm a retired fully-fied nerd who loves to work with trying to figure things out again. So what I'm going to do is to tell you a bit about what I have been doing with AIs. And as you can see, the name here says Alien API, and then the name of it, and it turns out to be an open AI. And Alien is my view of of the silliness of these AIs. They are not intending to be human, they are aliens. But they are intelligent in some sense, so we can talk with them. That is my view. Anyways, it doesn't matter. So at the moment, I want to say that I picked this one here, and then I can print, and it says that the connection between Pharo and the AIs at the moment is set to be GPT 5.1. I have approximately 28 different AIs connected to my to my Pharo here, so I can try many different things. They are not all the same, but nevertheless, they're all there. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you here is this thing here. So it says, who is Kasper? And if you don't know, just say, sorry, I don't know. And the important thing here is, if I omit this, sorry, this thing, if you don't know, etc., it will try to guess. And that goes for all of the AIs. If you don't specify that they shouldn't be guessing, they will guess by default. So here I say, please do not guess. If you don't know who I am, just say it here. So with this one here, I can go and say, okay, and I want to see the result. And it should show up here. Sorry, I do not know. You can see it? Yeah. Good. So this one here doesn't know. Then there is this one here from Google, which is Gemini. So if I go there and say that's the active one, and I try to say, yes, you can see it's one of the pro things of this one here. And if I go and ask that one the same question, and there's a little thing there that says it's running in the background. It's shown, that one there shows up sort of 95% of the times, but if I actually need it, it will skip. And Kasper Østerbye, and it goes ahead, and I can't read.
Kasper Østerbye is a Danish computer scientist, primarily known for his significant contributions to object-oriented programming and his role in the development of the beta programming language.
And blah, blah, blah. So as you can see, and what I actually just wanted to show you here was that AIs are not at the same depth. One of the things in this code that you will see me using is that normally when you log into sort of ChatGPT or Google or Gemini or whatever, it has a history. But here, this is historyless, and it is not useful. But for me, who is wanting to understand what is going on, it is necessary that it's not depending on the history. So Q0 is an operator that I'll return to in a bit. So that is it. But I can take a look. What is this thing here? That's string Q0. Q0 is there, and I want to inspect it. And as you can see now, it pops up with something here. It says Q0, and then it says, I have an AI history, and I create a new connection. The user message is the string itself. It asks it to go and send a message to the AI for getting the response, and then returns the response. Okay. So this is a little thing here, which is called as a side effect from this spot here. Okay, so when this simple looking thing here, similar to that one up there, says, who is Kasper? And if you do not know, say, I don't know. And then Q0 sends that string here to the AI. So it's not the perfect one, but it's a sort of simple version of the big chat things that I believe most people today have tried. But I wanted to have control over it and to be able to inspect the details. So that is it. I'll go back to that one there, and I can see I went back. So now it is this. If I click here, oops, and see who is it, you can see it's Gemini, the 2.5 Pro or something like that. So it differs a bit. Okay. So the next question is this.
What is the essence of AIAHistory? If you have not heard about him, just say, sorry, I do not know.
Okay, but as you can see, this time there is no 0 behind it. I'll return to that in a bit. But if we execute it and take a look at it, you can see that's the one. Sorry, it doesn't know. And that's strange. Why doesn't it know that? That's because AI, blah, 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 is not a very well-known Smalltalk class. It is something specific in my code. So what I have written is something like this. It says, source code builder, make a new instance and I just want to see all of those who lives in the same area as this one here. And this one here is shown over here. So, and the one I want to ask is to take a look at all of these classes here and show it. So I'll just show you that it's possible. And it produces a humongous list of the entire system. Of course, there are many ways in which you can write source code in Smalltalk, since there is no official standard. There are many different ways to do it, and they all make sense. This one here generates a markdown syntax because the AI seems to understand markdown pretty well. Okay. So if I go here and take a look here, it's the same story as before. What is the essence of this class here? But this time it says Q:. I'll show you in a bit. But then it says, okay, this is the question, but as background for your answer, you get that information. So I sent the entire class and its connected areas as a background thing for it to be better at answering the question I actually asked. So if I take a look at that, I'll get this one here. I'll sometimes, you can see A03 is something that is assigned to the value of that. So I won't execute it this time, but just take a look. And then this time here, it says, it is a blah, blah. And it explains various aspects of that. Okay. So in that case, it is not a I do not know, because now it was actually told the whole background for it. So that is one of the things I have been experimenting with a lot, is to send the Smalltalk's Pharo code as background and ask it to do that. So if we go here, boom, 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 boom. Yes. Here, string, oops. For string, I have defined this Q point there. And what it does is that it says, I want a new history. And history is a place where I ask a question, it answers, I ask another question, it answers, I ask a question, it answers, blah, 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 blah. You have tried that if you have ever tried AI. But here it says, there is a certain appendix, and then there is the code that I showed you, which was this one here. Which is everything related to that class. And then I asked it, what is my question? And based on this information, it produces the response. Okay. What here is the whole code that you're seeing now, if you are extremely curious, is on GitHub. It is in Kasper Østerbye. / Pharo AI actions or something like that. And what you are seeing right now is there also. So this particular playground might not be there, but I'll show it up. I'll push it up there as part of the integration later. So at least this should be possible, but I can't say for every thing. It is something which is running on a randomly Pharo 14. It might have been later moved out of possibilities, but as you can see now, it works for me. Okay. So that's sort of the basic aspects, and that is, I have a way in which I can just write a string, and Q0 means that it's not told that the question is about Smalltalk or Pharo, and Q means that it is told about this is a Smalltalk thing, etc. So, and if I didn't add there, it would come up with too many stupid ideas of how should I print a certain thing I asked for in Java or some other random language. So basically, this one here says answer please in Smalltalk, and use the syntax that is typical for Pharo 14 or something like that. So there is that. Any questions? Okay, I'll just head on.
I've got tons, but I want to hear you like go through, and then I'll ask at the end. I think.
Perfect. The issue is, what can we use this for? Is this idea of AIs a useful thing, or just a fantastic ways to use our electricity? And you can easily ask it to write code that you can't, that it is not very good. So instead, I'll talk about something that you might have heard, and that is the PlantUML. UML is this 25-year-old graphics for classes, and this class here calls this method here, and bum 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 and bum bum bum, and I think there are 11 different strategies for these. So I just want to show you here. So the question I asked it is this:
create a PlantUML diagram for AIAHistory being called by user, and show the method calls involved. It must be an overview.
So I don't specify what it is supposed to do, but I'll show you just in a bit. But I'll show you one result that I got, which is this one here. So it shows up that says, he wants to say a call, and then it goes through these various things, and then there is the alien API, and it calls and goes to send something using this thing here, and boom, 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 boom. If I could read, but now I can't read, of course, this is really silly, but I can ask it to explain to me what is this.
Post app a generator with body forented with prompt.
So for me, the loss of ability to read, I have found various ways to sneak around them. Anyways, what I wanted to tell you here, and I can show you, if I want to actually do this, I want to make certain, and I have all the various things. I have OpenAI, Grok, Claude, Mistral, Olama, another one, and Gemini. And for each of them, I have at least 4 different strategies within them. But which one am I currently using? And it's OpenAI. Okay, so if I ask it to make a new one, and I'll make that number like this. You can see now it starts, and it takes a few seconds, maybe even 15 or sometimes even 20. So, but it wasn't that long. And it turns out that it was a PlantUML. So it says blah, 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 blah. But I have a way in which I can ask the PlantUML and then given the actual expression there. So if I go and say I want to see this, it draws differently. Okay. So what I wanted to make a point about here is not that, oh boy, this is cool. No, it means that in 15 seconds, I'm able to ask it to explain to me what the overall architecture of my system is. So rather than writing this thing here, I throw it out after it has been used, and then I change the code. I might ask again, etc. So for me, it has the PlantUML or the UML have moved from a situation in which oh boy, this is hard to type, and then my code have changed and it's no longer up to date. But now it has moved into a different situation in that it is now the way in which I actually try to find out what is this set of classes actually doing. And I just ask, what is this doing? And I want a diagram of something that says, if I call this one here, what actually happens? Okay, and it adds some comments. For instance, like this.
Messages last rolls.
So I apparently picked the wrong thing to get it to ask it. But for you guys who can read, it should be possible. Okay, so that was sort of my primary thing, and that it was that's nice.
That's a decent diagram, actually. I didn't quite understand the first diagram that you showed and the second one. They're different. Why are they? Is that just because the code has changed, or it's a different?
No. It's a perfectly good one. So now I'll just ask it to. I'll return to that, but so far it is an excellent question. So let's do this, and you can see it now started again. And when it's done, we'll take a look. And now it's done. And it failed. It happens every once in a while that it fails. So the thing was, so we'll just try to do this again. PlantUML is definitely as far from the standards as Smalltalk is to this thing here. So
was the failure about the PlantUML that was generated just wasn't interpretable? Is that the?
Yes.
Okay.
And here you can see that it is a preliminary thing for me, but you can definitely see that the response it gives differs a lot.
Wow. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah. So if you want them to be precisely, you need to make this piece of text longer, saying, but I want to blah, 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 and I want to blah, 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 and I want to blah, blah, blah. And then if you do that, it actually ends up being better.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're back into, like, you got to have good prompts is the.
Absolutely.
Right.
Always the case.
So
yeah,
can you hear me?
Yeah.
So now we are programming with English rather than Smalltalk, right?
Yes.
But English is so imprecise. How can you ever get a reliable software?
No. You're asking the absolutely most interesting issue that I could have dreamt about, and that is, and my experience from the last 9 months or so is, don't ask the AI to produce code. You can ask them to produce an sort of a preliminary version of the code, but don't ask it to. But what you can ask the AIs to is, give me an overview of my code. And that overview, you can even ask it to produce, instead of saying something in Danish or English, you can ask it to say something in PlantUML. And it does that. So it is not intended to write code. It is intended for, at least in my view, it is a fantastic way in which, when I go to a different piece of code that I haven't been to for a while, I can ask it, couldn't you just show me a UML for that area? And it can. I'll just have the other one here.
I am making class comments. Can you show me a PlantUML diagram show which classes are used? Do not wow me the methods of each class. The key class is AIA class comment.
So I specify this thing here, and as I told you before, it is different from time to time, but this time here, I just wanted to show you an old result.
Now, I noticed a spelling error there.
Yes, that's because I'm bum in my head.
Yeah.
I don't good. I don't
You
get
actually
all
did
all
type
the
that.
time.
You actually did type that?
I actually typed this. Yes.
Yeah. Wow. Okay.
Yeah. So this is typed by me, and if I take a look, what is its results? I asked it about history, AI history, and it's used by these in a huge thing here, and these other ones depends on it. Okay, and for me, that is a way to sort of get an overview of a large number of classes, which ones depends on which other ones, and some of them uses, some of them builds, etc. So rather than actually having to spend my time reading through this thing here, I can ask it to create a UML diagram for me. And once I
how
have
accurate and reliable is this?
that I get this specific thing here, maybe not, but because I want to save it, I give it a different number. So if I take it and say, but do the same thing again.
Maybe if you correct the spelling mistake, I wonder if that might.
No, that does not. That does nothing. They are totally insensitive to spelling mistakes. Tokenization, remove all of them.
Yeah, it's a good point.
No, they're very nice for some people with my handicaps.
Can you hear me?
So yeah, I can hear you. Just a second.
Kasper, just taking a ride on the AIAH's question. I understand that for exploratory realm, using AI would be a tool, but do you agree with me that if UMLs are of any use for understanding Smalltalk classes, it will be more useful to just have a method and object to generate UMLs and just
your question is absolutely meaningful. I'll try to return to it, but just right now, I just wanted to show you what the result is. As you can see, it's a different result. It's not as complicated. The text up here is longer. It still have this one here, etc. So if you want to make certain that you get precisely the one you want, you have to ask a much more detailed question. And that's because if it is not very precise, it guesses all the issues that you didn't state. Okay.
So that means that this diagram is not correct. I mean, it's not 100% correct, right? That's maybe some of those errors.
Depends on what correct is. It has a tendency.
There's only one correct UML for what you have right now, right?
Yeah. No, for me, I'm not trying to ask it to make correct things. I'm asking it to help me understand what is going on. And getting an overview of the entire or a large part of the system in a PlantUML is now so useful for me, that it is one of the integrated part I do when I want to move around.
Okay, I want to interpret what you said this way. You are not willing to draw a precise map. You want direction to arrive to the friend's house.
Yes and no. And I'll return to that a little later. And I think your question is good. So even though I say I'll skip it now, it doesn't mean that you shouldn't return to it later. Is that okay?
Okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Good. Oops. So I just wanted to show you that you are actually able to do PlantUMLs. History is what you know. if you have ever tried one of these, it has a tendency to remember you asked about this question, it answered, you asked, it answers, it asked, it answers, and some of these is just, I asked, it answers, and then gone. And next time it's a new one. So which one do I actually have here? And there is this thing here I can just take a look at. And it can see that down here, there is, I asked to make a PlantUML, and it produced that code. So I can see what's the history of the thing is. And it's not necessary for it to work, but for me to try to understand how do the AI, the APIs that talks to these things, I have built sort of a lot of lower level issues that I ask about. Okay.
If I may, I have a question. I see all these.
Go ahead.
I see you're busy with like chat modus. Are you also making use of function calls, which some APIs allow, go into a bit of an agentic loop to allow the system to ask more from your Smalltalk?
I will try to return to that a bit later, if that's okay. As you can see here, I'm now trying to go into some details, and then here it says comments, and comments means how do we generate comments for Smalltalk, because that is also something where I can do it, but it has changed my mind. Okay, so this one here, whoops, that I'm asking it to solve is this.
I'm interested in having built a PlantUML diagram that shows them Pharo Playground app, APIAHistory LLM, APIAHistory app response. If you think you understand what I'm saying, the code is in the background.
So again, I ask it a question and I explains this, and I give it this background as I mentioned. And if I take a look what it gives me again a UML diagram here that says, okay, I am asking this string here, it goes to history, it goes to a specific API that then sends it to the background and returns and gets the responses and blah, blah, blah. Okay, so for me, this is not something I want to implement. This is not something I want to write. It is, how did I write this code? And this is one of the ways it can present it. I am a nerd. I am one who likes to find out things. So these things I show you are not some suggestions from my side on how should Smalltalk or Pharo be changed. These are examples of what I have been trying to do and understand. Okay. So if I take a look at the histories and the first, now if we just take a look here and here, you can see that the user asked and got a response. Then, and this is something I am playing around with, I can ask one question and then ask another one because it is I who have made the code. So I can ask question 1, question 2, question 3, now please respond. And that means that I can sort of have background, actual response, please respond. Okay, and there are so that there is that. Okay, and as you can see here, some of the things ended up in me pressing return. I'm not going to wait for you. So if I take a look at this, that's the same things again. Okay, and this time here I asked it a queue, and I asked it queue colon, I ask it Q0. And just to be annoying, I also have a D. So what is the D? The D is, I go to this history of what has happened before. I ask my question, I get the response, I put it into the base, and I can then do something similar to what you guys have been doing if you ever tried an AI. And that is, you ask a question, it answers. You ask another question, it answers. So they are tied together. Okay. What my architecture can, but what I have tried is, I can midway say, I have now asked 10 questions and gotten 10 answers, and now I switched the AI so that I'm no longer doing it with ChatGPT, but with Grok, and Grok gets the same background. It is not unheard of, but it, of course, not one of the main ones, because it has to be an independent provider who says you can switch between these, because Grok and Claude and OpenAI are in competition with each other. So they won't let you switch in their various versions. But in my Smalltalk code, that's a piece of cake. So I just changed it. So I asked, so here is a question. You answered, I did not understand. Why did you answer that? And I can go here and say, ask that question, and it goes about and thinking, why did I actually do that? And as you can see, it takes some time for that. And it has part of an answer.
You are seeing AI-based response terminated because that exact string is what your own Pharo code writes into the history when the job is interrupted. In AIAHistory get response. Smalltalk.
Okay, so it actually, as I said here, it has gotten the entire Smalltalk code as a background knowledge, not the entire system, but the one I'm working on. And when I ask it, why did you do that? It is answering me that it is because I pressed the stop key. And that's true. That is the only way in which that actually happens. And it knows that. So it is not completely stupid regarding what my code is doing. So I just wanted to show you. I'm moving on to the next. Questions?
I think we've had old conversations about how much these AIs know about Smalltalk, the language, and I think the consensus was they know quite a bit, but they're not specifically, these are generic AIs on lots of languages. Craig probably knows a bit more about this as well, but it's interesting.
Yeah, it was quite extensive, but post-training was also useful.
Yeah. The key thing for me is this piece of code here, and I think any of you would find that useful if your AI working. And that is the one that giving a method, a class, I've always forget these names, starts with T, 3 letters. Tool, I can.
Oh, you mean MCP? Or
No.
Tags.
Oh, tags.
Yes, so I can specify that it is told about all the classes in a specific tag, or I can tell it to look at the entire packages. Yes. So I give background for its answers. Okay. And just as piece of service, it is so that as you can see, I have many different AIs, but Mistral API, it's actually possible for you guys to use it if you download it. And that's simply because I have hacked it so that the code for the background or the key sits on my my private database, private web page, and it goes there. And as long as we are no more people than we are here, and other small things, Mistral will never discover that it is not just me, but also others who are playing around with it for an hour or so, or 10 for that matter. So just go ahead and try it. The other ones are hidden, but Mistral is the one and I'll move to Mistral, and as you can see now, it says that it's Mistral and a specific one. So if I go down here, whoops, Mistral, and say what are available, there are 4 different ones, and the one that's picked is the first one. One of the first things I did was to try to make comments. And one of the things which I find funny is that a comment explains what a method, a class, or the entire package does, what's its purpose. But you have probably also, all of you, experienced that then you edit the method, the class, or the package to get it to run, but you forget to update the comments. So, so for me, it is no longer something I would never ever dream about writing that comment. So, so let's take a look here. There is a whole list here that says AI boom. So that's this package here. And if I go to that package and release it from there, you can see there are no comments. And then if I go here and say, do this, you can see it opens. And I forgot to press the key, so we can't see what it does. Interesting. So that was supposed to be an example, but we'll do something different. We'll just take this one here and says, and it normally does. And this is sort of the typical thing when you want to show something, something is broken. And I don't know exactly where. I'm not going to waste my time trying to figure that out.
This is known as the demonstration effect, Kasper.
Yes, yes, that's super annoying, but nevertheless, it's true. So, and I was just wondering what class I had picked here. Ah, it says here, yes. So I think I'll go here, there, ask it. It has a comment, but I'll just throw that comment out because it's not useful, because then I will make a demo. And if I go here and says, could I please get a comment for this? It produces a comment. If I press with a slightly different thing, the comment is actually inserted into the AI. Into Pharo, okay? And one thing I added, which I haven't seen very often, and that is if you actually go and take a look here, I actually changed it so that it has 3 variables, one called model, one called message list, and the other calls something very long. I can't read. And this one here is a string. So what is this thing here? Now let's take a question here. What is this thing here?
Equal to ordered collection. Chronological sequence of role content message pairs.
Okay. So it is now able to add a comment to each of the class or instance variables. It tells me what type is used and what is the purpose of it. Okay. And it does that because the background for it to be able to do that is the entire class. So it reads the entire class and then adds this. Okay. So now for me, these things, me who can't read, these things are extremely useful because it tells me, it is doing that. And if I change the code, I'll just ask it to redo the comment generator. Okay, so it's built in now. If I go and not on that one there, you can see here there is one for class comments, one for method comments, and one for package comments. And if we take a look here, there are different styles. Here I have been more complicated than I was supposed to mean, I think. So if I go and take what are the, it is currently an LLM, so that means that for the class comment, it is meant not for a human to be able to read this, but for an other AI to understand what is this class actually going to do. Okay. I have done something similar, whoops, for a method. So
may I ask a question, Kasper?
Yes.
What does it look like, the comments for the LLM?
That was the one that was actually there. So it actually has now. I'm getting to the fully nerdness. Now it turns out that for me, who start knowing the code, one thing, if you tell the AI that its answer response should not be for a human but for an AI, and that is an understanding that they are getting better and better at understanding, and that is that the response you get, you can specify that it should not be for a human but for an other AI. And that's because AI starts to collaborate. So you can actually do that. And for me, if you actually do that, it has a tendency not to repeat. If it gives the answer foo, it is not going to say, but foo blah and foo blah, but foo blah. It will explain what foo is in full details and not mention it one line again. So it's actually a condensed, for a programmer, often better explanation than actually asking it to return something to a human. I just wanted to show you something here. So now I'm certain that if I want to take this one here, it's a method, and it doesn't have a comment. So if I go here and press Command P, it produces a very small comment.
This method generates an AI-assisted comment for a specified method, ensuring proper formatting and integration with the method source code.
Okay, and this makes sense, but actually you have also all seen these silly methods that says message foo returns foo, but as the instance variable. But what it actually does is that it looks through the entire class and notices what is foo actually used for, so that you get a comment that explains what is the purpose of foo, and not just a random number, or a name, or something like that. So I have been using it for that aspect as well. So how was that?
Kasper,
Yes.
just a question. When you have a background for your LLM models to bring up comments, you might arrive at some situations where you have, let's say, one method solves the quadratic equation, very simple drill. And you say, okay, this method takes the variable x, finds the root, blah, 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 and not say it resolves the quadratic equation. Am I right on that?
No, and you're not wrong.
I'm used to tetralemma, so okay, I understand.
No. It depends on the situation, and it can be hard to specify which one of them is actually the answer that it will pick in a given situation.
I see.
Yeah.
So you might, when you are on a conversational mode, on a web interface, continue asking, oh, what does this equation do? But in Smalltalk, you're stopped there. You get your comment, and you are done with that, right?
I just wanted to show you one more.
Okay.
If we go back to the comments.
Sure.
Whoops, they're here, and I tend to ping this one here. So if we take a method, I was asking it to use this one here. But there is also another thing here. So if I and then what is the comment of this one here? And I will just say it has to be up there. And this time here, it is the comment question was, can you please explain how I should write a test method for this method? And it is not holding back. I didn't ask it to be short. So it's suggesting several issues of what to do and what to check and blah, blah, blah. So normally the one here, it says, do not use more than 80 to 100 characters in your answer. And the other one says, go bananas.
I see.
Yeah.
So is it possible to sip from all the, let's say, words knowledge and get into a comment if needed?
The answer is good. Or no, I mean the question was good. So if we take a look at this thing here that I have been talking about a number of times, I'll just take a look at it. You can see that the message sent to the AI is this entire thing here, and it has the class name. That class we deleted the comment on, but then there are comments and other kind of things. So if we go through all the kind of things that are here, you can see there are some comments here that are longer, etc. So it depends on, have you stored this thing here? Because you can see there's no comment sitting here. I just showed you. But if I go up here, and I'll just pick this one here. And if I go here, you'll see that there is no comment. But if I press it adds the comment to the actual code.
Okay.
Yeah, and the same for the other, for classes, etc. So I can press Command P, and that means show me the comment. If I push, I can't remember what's the name of this one that points up arrow. I don't know. The one that makes small a become a capital A. I've forgotten the name.
Uppercase?
Uppercase. Perfect.
Shift.
Yes. So if I press uppercase, you can see here, this one here has a comment. I'll delete it. And I go back, bum, bum. There is no comment. And I go here and say, but could you please make me one? And if I then go here, oops, and she'll show me the comment, a comment has been added. So comment can be added, and this is sort of an example of the LLM style, which means that it's not sort of human readable, but for me, it's actually nicer.
AIA method comment is a specialized builder class for generating AI-assisted method comments in Pharo. It integrates with AI models to automatically create concise, context-aware method documentation, handling various comment types and languages. The class provides methods to generate different comment styles: regular, black, test.
So for me, the comments it generates are clearly based on a broader understanding of my code than just the specific class. And so it looks at the methods, its instance variables, its class variables, its the meta class of that thing there, etc., and try to make a comment regarding that.
What are the different comment styles it's picked up? It said regular, black, and test.
Yes.
Is interesting. I guess, is it sort of
it's an excellent question. It is
black.
No. Let me try to answer. The black one here is one in which I ask it explicitly not, and I don't give it the information of what is inside the actual method. So it's a black method comment, which means
as in non-opaque. It's sort of Okay,
yes, it is. Non-opaque, yes. So it has to look at how is it used and then make the comments based on how is this method used.
Right, okay.
And, yeah.
I suggest we rename it on the name of that famous researcher that created the open close principle.
What I'm showing you is how my experience has been with these things. So if you want to suffer from them, you can name them whatever you want.
No, we get it.
Any case, I just wanted to go to JSON on this one here, and that is in here, there, and then there was this thing here. I think this one here, it has no method. Okay, so so I ask it on that class in this method, could you please write me a different? Okay, so if I go and take a look at this, it says this.
Smalltalk whispers low, JSON maps in silent rows. Pharo holds the code.
And while this is sort of a ridiculous joke, I have also found that because I asked it to be extremely brief, it's actually not that stupid. The answer is but nevertheless, let's move on to something more.
That's awesome. That's really good.
So for me, this is sort of the ideal short version comment that might actually be the most useful for those who are experts in Smalltalk and wants to understand what does this stupid method do, but I haven't built it completely inside the system yet. But nevertheless, I got the idea and it surprised me.
That just feels really Smalltalk, doesn't it? To like give a haiku on a class.
Yeah.
Wow.
And then there is another, as you can see here, it says that the answer should be in British. I can say that, I don't know, French. And then if I go here and say I would like a comment for this thing here, and just print it,
Wow, that's pretty cool, actually.
Son tableau jaune avec des paires rôle continue.
Okay, so for me, the ability to actually shift the language, I can also try to do it in Chinese, but then I can't read to see if it is just reading rubbish, man. But nevertheless, in my thinking, this is sign number 217 of why I don't want comments to be integrated into the system, because a beginner who is learning to use Smalltalk might not want to have to fight through his or her. I need to understand English as well. No, you can get the explanation in French, and then you can try to read the English code or something like that. So, and all I had to do was to say that the default language is French. German? Whoops, where did I go with this? There it is.
Yeah, this is great. Comment language becomes as mundane a decision as how to format
Konvertiert
code.
die Nachrichtenliste in ein JSON-Array von Rolleninhalt-Paaren für API-Anfragen.
Okay,
so this brings up point. Why don't translate the whole Pharo language to German?
Because
then someone comes along and they translate it to English. So that yeah, anyone can write in their favorite language, and AI can keep it all together.
Yes, I am, as I said, unable to read. So for me to get it to be able to tell me things in Danish, I do not use that in my Pharo code. But every morning when other people might read the newspapers, I ask Grok, what has happened in the last 2 days in the United States? And it tells me, and I ask, I'm interested in what happens in the middle countries, I've forgotten the name, but the middle part of United States, not the east or the west, but the middle one. Could you please? And then yeah, and then it goes about and Googles and blah, 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 and actually summarizes it and gives me about a list of 100 different AI places I could go and further look up, but it summarizes it for me. So for me—
In what language?
In Danish, of course.
In Danish. Okay.
Yes, but I do the same for when I want to know about Russia, or if I want to work about hear about China. I can see that the originals are in other languages, but it translates it. So for me, comments.
And currently, you are speaking English, is that right?
Yeah, I'm not lying here. I think I speak English, but not too bad, not super duper, but not that bad. Okay, so there is that.
As a very brief historical note, French in the mid-60s, they translated COBOL, a US DOD language, to have all the verbs and all the structures, etc., in French. I don't remember how successful was it.
No, but for me, it is quite clear, as you can see, there is this one here, Olama, and if we take a look at what issues I have on Olama, no, that was Owen. Kasper can't read, so I took it to be the same, but it's not. This one here is the smallest one. The other two are small, and this one here, but they are minute. And there are several of the things that you expect an AI to do today that these can't do. But I found them interesting anyway. Okay. Let me try to move on, if it's okay.
Nori has a question.
Yeah.
A quick one. Yes, you have linking so many models. Why is that? Do you get very
Yes,
different?
it's a
from one
perfectly
one to
good,
the other?
it's a perfectly good question, and the honest answer is Kasper was curious. Is there any difference? Are they behaving differently? What is the differences? Because I've seen these ones here. So I think that after this talk, I'll start sort of saving some money and not having to deal with all of them. But it's a little unclear for me exactly which ones should be deleted and unsubscribed to. But I have it for many, yes. And it has mostly been out of curiosity.
So do you have a favorite or a few favorites?
No, I have. Yes, I have a few favorites, but they are not. They're not specific Pharo thing. I like Grok, because Grok is the one that is able to read most apps on the web. So if I ask it a question about what are the key things that happens in local China for the last week, it reads about 100 web pages extremely fast because it has full parallelism and that kind of thing, and summarizes and gives me an answer. And the other ones can't do that. Okay? They can, but you really have to push them extremely hard because they know that it is a piece of code that takes time. And Gemini is the one from Google, and it is supposed to be good, but that's probably one of those that is going to be disappearing for me because it is so strong in the languages that I'm not using, that is Smalltalk Pharo, that it has a tendency to get things wrong simply because it's so strong. But I ask it to fly, and it so there's not something hard. They're slightly different.
Are you using Gemini 3 or just 2.5?
I'm using all of them. So Gemini, not all of them, but if for Gemini, if I want to see here, I use 2.5. I from bam, and I changes them every once in a while. So it's so
no 3. Huh?
Yeah. Now let me move on. One thing is that I just said to you that, for instance, Grok, if you ask a question, it will try to look it up on the web. But how does it do that? Because an LLM or the actual AI cannot go on the web. It is just how it was built a year or 2 years ago. So what actually happens is that just like I can send a history of my previous questions, I can send it a list of tools. So if I ask it to answer a question, it will see, I don't know the answer, but perhaps there is a tool that will help me. And I'm going to show you that, and that's not extremely robust, but I'll show you nevertheless. But it's something I built in the last week. Okay, so I'm continuously being a nerd. So here, what is the capital of Denmark? It's Copenhagen. That's fine. So it works. And then I ask it, what is this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lifted to 75? And it goes blah, blah, blah. Blah, 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 but it doesn't really give an answer. It just says, I know that you asked a question. Then I made one where I actually have a set of tools. So if I actually go to this one here, and it says D. Can you still see this?
Yep.
Cool. So if I now ask it, what is the result? You get the exact number. And why does it do that? That is because it calls a method in Smalltalk that computes this, send the result back, and then it uses the result to formulate an answer. Okay? It took me forever to get it to work, but now it works. And the funny thing here is, if I ask it this question here, I get the same answer. And that's because it's actually able to know that there is no thing called up arrow in Smalltalk, but the equivalent is star star. So it takes this piece of thing here and translate that into a star star, and then actually gives the answer. Yeah. And I can ask it another question.
A question: how does it know it has a calculator?
Yes, isn't that a fantastic question? I hope somebody would ask. It knows that because the AI that I'm using is this one here, and it has a longer implementation. I'm not going to go through that, but the one it says here is, the question is,
evaluates Pharo Smalltalk expression, returns print string of result, handles arithmetic, object creation, collection operations.
Okay, so I tell it that if you have a question that deals with what I just had read aloud, then it will do here. And then the argument you must pass is this.
Pharo expression to evaluate.
Okay. These are then sent as part of what the AI is known. And then when it returns it, when it then returns or asks Pharo to do it, it simply tries to compute the thing and returns that as the response from me down to it, and then it takes the response it got, etc. There is various others, but I wanted to show you directly the last one here. But I wanted to see.
Okay, let me summarize. You have an expression. You ask the AI to recognize if it is a Pharo expression.
No.
Then
yes.
Send it.
No. Go ahead.
And if it looks like a Pharo expression, you attempt an execution on Pharo.
Yes. Yes. So if I go here and try, if I go here and ask, what is the current weather in San Francisco, Copenhagen, and London? And I want to see that. And it says it's this, it is minus here, and it's about 6.5 your play, or in that one there. But as you can see, it actually asked, what is the temperature in San Francisco? It asks Smalltalk about that. Smalltalk doesn't know that, but there is a method in Smalltalk that can look it up, get the temperature, send it back. Then it goes for the next one, does the same thing for Copenhagen, get the responses and send it back, and so on. So these are then combined into sort of a text.
The current weather in San Francisco is 15.2 degrees Celsius. In Copenhagen, it is minus 1.1 degrees Celsius. And in London, it is 6.5 degrees Celsius.
Okay. And I can see this one here get weather, and it is something about going to this place on the external web pages, and the first thing you actually have to do is to get the location of the city you're talking about, and that's an X and Y coordinate, and then you have to then ask the AI to blah blah, etc. So it's a little non-trivial, but it's not hopeless. It's two pieces of methods to do that. Okay.
This is a method I would like to see the sequence diagram.
Yes, I can understand, and that was very nicely said. I think I'll skip it now because there is one thing last I wanted to tell. There are other things that I have shown here. Which Pharo class implements this method here? And if I go and take a look, you can see it added an extra callback, and it gets these methods, and then it produces a string, so to say. So I get that. Then I wanted to show you just a brief thing here. And bum 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 bum. And just a second, I'm working to try and find.
Maybe a digression might help.
I'll just a second, and I'll answer, because here we are. And the peculiar thing here is that now I have to go to somewhere in this silly thing here. How do I easily change from one, not Pharo, but to another one? That must be down here somewhere. I have to. Whoops. Yes. So I just wanted to demo for you something in one of the extremes, and this is I wrote it looks like a scientific paper, but it is 100% AI generated. I haven't written a single thing except for the title. Okay. Whoops. It goes through what's the abstract, what's the problem, what is the solutions, what are the defenses, what are the related work, and it actually goes to another place via Smalltalk's web page accessing, sends it back, and explains the difference between what we did and what is the conclusion of this, what are the name of the references, and what is the actual experiments. And this, with the actual experiments, is just sort of what one of you asked me, what are you using all these stupid AIs for? So there is Claude, Gemini, blah, 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 and then there are 4 models for each. And then I, for instance, asked it, if I ask it for a given of the list here has 7 by 4, that's 28, I think, and I ask it, AAA is 1, is 2, okay, it says, BBB is 3, okay, So what is the sum of these? Please only answer the thing. And then they all answer the right thing, except for this one here, which is the ultra short one. Then I ask it 3 user questions, and then and what is then there are a couple of places where it goes wrong. This one here fails, and then there are a couple of things here where it answers but not the right thing, etc., etc., etc. Okay. So this is a piece of code, and all the text in there is not written by me. Looking up which other methods or classes should be used is not specified by me. So the only thing that is specified by me is a bunch of code, but not for the specific one. I have tried with, and I have had it generate 3 different methods, or 3 different package. No, what do you call these again? Name disappeared.
Papers, articles.
Articles, yes, thank you.
Now, have you actually read through it in detail to see?
Yes, yes, I have seen that. Yes, yes. It is decent.
It is what?
It is decent. It's okay. It's
80%, 50%.
I will. It would probably not be accepted at a conference, but it would definitely be accepted at a workshop with me as one of the presenters. So that's sort of the level I see. And it is. There is a single one I wanted to show you here. Bum 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 bum. That could be up here. Not there. Here. And it was a named thing here. And down here. So for instance, there was one of the areas that was called problem, and it has blah, blah, blah here, but the actual one is number 13 down here, which states you should not tells the AI, you should now take a look at the previous and then blah, blah, all this crap here. And the actual one here, and the one I actually wanted just to tell you about, is that it gets a section that is, for instance, problem or solution or something like that. And then the first AI tries to build the answer for that. Then the next reads the previous AI's answers and notifies what are the strengths, what are the weaknesses, and what is it missing. The next one then tries to summarize these things, and then the final one tries to combine the message from all the 3 previous into single methods. So it's not a simple, trivial thing that I'm just asking it to write a paper. It actually, they're trying to write papers by themselves, and then being asked to, could you please not write a new one, but critique of what the previous one did, and then ask, could you try to summarize what the previous one did? And finally, there is one that is, and it is not asked to be concise, it's asked to explain everything. And then the next one is asked to take the whole lot of answers it got and combine it into a single paper or section. So blah, blah, blah. It took me about 3 or 4 weeks to write the code that asked the AIs to actually produce that ping there. But the actual code is not something I wrote. So this is, yeah.
What is Kent-Beck LLM?
Ken Beck's is a thing. Ken Beck is one who at the Google what is it called? Conference in 1902 for the name disappeared for me. It has been about object-oriented programming in forever. Uppsala, thank you. Yes, there was a discussion at Uppsala, and he sort of said, follow these 4 rules if you want your paper accepted and not just being thrown out of anonymous.
Oh yeah, famous that, yeah.
And I could remember that there was such a thing, and I thought, okay, I don't know if it's the best, but it's not stupid. So I told the AIs to build the paper based on that. Yeah. But I think this is sort of, in essence, what I have been playing around with. I can also ask it to read one of the papers and say what is wrong with this paper. And I believe that is a useful thing for a student or a PhD student who is working on a paper and is about 75% done. And then it will say, yes, but what's its strengths, what is its weaknesses, and what is it missing, etc. So it does that, and it is structured slightly different in that I give it the paper to the AI, 6 different AIs then reads the paper and says what strengths, weaknesses, etc. And then there is the same 6, then number 3 reads number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and tries to summarize that. The same does number 2, number 3, and number 4, etc. And then a level more to say, read all of these and write your essence. And then there is one who reads the remaining 6 and produces 1 result. Okay, so I actually do this thing about asking many AIs to solve an issue, and it is clearly different from just asking one AI to do it. But it takes a while. Some of the text I showed you that looked like a paper, the paper generator, it takes about 2 hours to get through all the AI testing, etc., to do everything. So, yeah. That's about where I am, I think. So,
thank you.
No, it's amazing. It's amazing.
So,
one question I meant to ask you, for the reading, is it just English, or is it all languages that it's impacted?
there is currently a discussion between the United States and Denmark about Greenland. Greenland have their own language, as do the people of northern part of Nova Scotia, or further north of disappeared from me, Canada. Yes.
Yeah.
And there are so few people there that the languages might not be good. But then, compared to them, Denmark is fully a big language, so that works fine.
No, but my question was, can you read Danish, or you can't read Danish, you can't read English, you can't read any of the languages?
My eyes can't read. I'm sort of on the second or third school class in what I can read.
Okay.
Yeah, no, so it takes forever. So that's why. And now I have been polite. So if we take this one here and ask it to read.
Which Pharo classes implements execute tool?
And what I am then normally getting is this.
Which Pharo classes implements execute tool?
Okay, so I ask it to speak much faster because my ears now hear that.
Oh, wow. So you've adapted to just being able to hear things much quicker.
Yes, yes. Sometimes it's so quick that it actually highlights what is being read at the moment. And sometimes it's so fast that even if I try to follow it, I can't find it. I just have to listen because it's now so fast.
Interesting.
Yes.
No, I appreciate you sharing these stories. I mean, we had
Oh, no.
Christian.
Yes, yes.
We had Christian a while back, sort of with a similar kind of challenging story, and the way that you guys overcome these things with Smalltalk is just absolutely amazing. I'm gobsmacked, and it does mean it's like none of us. I mean, there's always a way, right? So if anything happens to any of us, there's a way of dealing with it, and using a love of programming and reasoning to continue doing things that we enjoy doing. My hat goes off to you. So I appreciate you sharing the tricky thing. It's amazing.
Stefan just had a question in the Pharo email group about changing the font in his computer so they can read it better.
Yes, and that is actually one of the things that I have as well, is that some of the AIs, when I asked about the temperature in Copenhagen, for instance, you can see it works okay, but sometimes it draws it's sort of a cloud or a sun or something like that, and these aren't shown in Smalltalk because Smalltalk is restricted, or Pharo for that matter, I guess, because it's restricted to a relatively small set of letters, because otherwise the amount of letters on this planet is so huge, and so is the smileys and all of that junk. So there is an issue there. Yes.
Pharo uses Unicode, doesn't it?
Pharo?
Yeah.
I think they have been doing various things over the years, and Smalltalk has been using something that were rarely used, but I think both of them, both Pharo and Smalltalk and the other ones, have sort of slowly moved to, not for the entire things, but for the small set. But I think it is reasonable, simple.
Okay. I guess Unicode is supposed to solve the character set.
Yeah. Okay. So, but I haven't done it. There. I mean, when I started on this thing here, and what I've told you about AI is 9 months old, and before that, I was through my brain cancer thingy for a couple of years, and everything was lost, and I have given up on being a programmer again until AI suddenly appeared, and I was able to ask it all kind of things, because I can ask a question, but I cannot write more than a few lines of code, because then I forget what was the details of what, and I have to go back and ask it once again. So I type some sketches for what I want to write, and then I ask it to write a text. So, for instance, if you went to the call for showing up tonight, it is an AI-generated abstract, but it is through discussion with me, and not inside Smalltalk, but one of the other ones. And I said, I would like to talk about blah, 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 blah. And then it came out with a suggestion, and I said, nah, it's too cold, it's too academic, it's not me. So more humorous, and then we worked on that, and it came out in a way that I found, that's cool. That's something that I could have written if I could write.
I have a question.
Yes.
About the tools. How do you decide, or how do you instruct the LLM to decide which tool to use?
It's a mixture of Kasper brain and tool. But the question you ask is a very sound one. So I don't know if there is one up here. I just wanted to. Here sits one. So I want it to answer this question based on every class that fits in the same tag as this class. Okay, so it goes here, finds that one there, moves up here, and then generates a markdown for that entire part of the system and sends that as background. So I can show you here. And it works for many things. Let me show you the code for here. Whoops. Yes, for the Q colon. That is, I tell it that it's about Smalltalk. That is told here. I tell it about the response of evaluating this piece of code here that has to return a string. And then the question is this string here. And so this is what is given. Then I'm sending that to the AI and it gives a response, which is what is shown. Does that make sense? I don't know if it even answered your question.
I'm not sure to get it, because like here, I see how you are sending one request to the LLM, but in the example you gave two examples, one with the calculator and one with the weather.
Ah, yes.
So how you decide calculator or weather or another one?
So here I asked, for instance, like this. And if we take a look at it, I send it the Q0. So let's see, Q0 is the simplest one. So it simply takes the string and sends it. Okay. You just say, do you understand it so far?
Yeah. I'm following.
Yeah, good. And then what happens is it doesn't know. So it will go through boing, not here. Actually, it is in here. There is a, I have to move it because there's something sitting on top of it here. So here it says, ask the question, and in case it doesn't know the immediate answer, it will have to go and ask send another message request to first the AI answers, but not something called the response, something called I have no shit idea of what's going on, so could you please give me the answer by this method? Okay, and which of the 5 methods that I have implemented, but some of them has 25 or something like that, is specified by the descriptions that they receive. There's a description of one method, another description of the other method, a third description on the third method, etc. And then when it can't find the name, it does that. And actually, that is worth noticing, because if we take, I'll show you. Oops, there is this. Oops, this thing here. And if we move down here, and I have to make certain that it's back on this guy here. Are we there? Yes. So if we take a look at that one there, and ask, what is Copenhagen? It says or in Denmark, that's Copenhagen. And as you can see, I don't know if you can, but nothing is written here. That means that the AI did not return back to Pharo to get help. But if I ask it about this, it realizes I do not know, but there was one of the ways in which I could ask Pharo to answer my question, and that shows here. Okay, so it realized I'm being asked about something I don't know. But I have a method, I have a callback that will help me. And then that solves the issue.
Yeah. So it's kind of chain of responsibility.
Yes.
And it's always the same order.
Yes. And the interesting thing was if I ask about Paris, you can see it asks about Paris in Denmark because it says Denmark there. So that was silly, but nevertheless, it gave one question. The other one ended up asking 3 questions, one for each of these. Okay. I can also sort of say this one here, and it's that's an answer it knows because it didn't show up here. Okay, so it just answers it without actually doing anything. Whereas I think I can move it here so you can see. If I ask it about what are these ones here, then it, in order to answer that question, it actually calls one of the methods back in Smalltalk. I suggest that you use this with care, but it is one of the oversights that many have not done yet in Smalltalk, as far as I know, but who knows? I don't know everybody. But as I started to say in the beginning, the whole thing here is up here. If you go to this place here, the whole code is there. So it's not something I'm trying to hide or something like that. It's not doing anything. It's just my nerdness that is not hidden. So if you find something interesting, go there and take a look. And you can't do it with Grok or the other ones, but the very simple things of here, for instance, there's no comment. I like comments, so I'll just ask it to make a comment. And it says now,
Enter the result of evaluating the receiver as a query to the AIAHistory system using the default system context.
Yeah,
Enter the result of evaluating the receiver.
I'll turn it back to something more normal.
Kasper, are you doing this without using the MCP protocol? Is that,
yes,
have you sort of basically kind of created something without using, and
yes,
like you're not registering an MCP server?
That's a very good question. So in here we have this alien API. It's my joke on the alien AIAHistory.
Yeah.
And if we take a look at this one here, you can see in order to get message responses from that, I have to go through this one here. I have to ask about set these prompts. I have to set these thing about keywords, etc., etc., etc. So there is no code from outside used. I built the entire thing not because it wasn't there, but because I was curious.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all there, and I'm not the only one who have done things like that. Different people have done different things. Some with more purpose than others, and I was just curious, and then Tim and the other in the group thought had apparently heard that I was me, and I could give it this presentation, so that's why I'm doing it. I'm very happy to do so.
It's amazing to hear it.
Kasper, I have a very other question.
Yes.
You know, I have contact to Smalltalk since about 35 years.
Yes.
But always on private level only, on small hobby level. And what was my problem with my small projects is that I have this very big, this very huge system of Smalltalk. Always I spent most of my time to find the right position where to put my code to the best position. Do you think that the AI could help such persons than me to start up with this huge system of Smalltalk, which is this huge system of commented Smalltalk? I always read comments, and when it was good, I found the best position where to dock on. To look in Germany, we have a saying like finding the needle in the haystack. I don't know if in English you have it as well.
Yeah,
but this is
it's an excellent question, and I don't have a firm thing here. I can't read, and that means that the life of my I built a simple class first, then I make a second one, then I make a third one, and then I say, okay, they all look similar. Now I make a general class, not the other way around. Many people in Smalltalk I have seen, and object-oriented programming have a tendency to make the structure first and the methods afterwards. I'm the other way around. So I want to make it work, then I want to make something similar work, then I want something similar to work, and if I see something that are the same, I start moving it up and structuring it. But that's how I work. And Smalltalk is unique in that sense that it is old, and any way in which you could think of something being done has been done.
Yes, right. Yeah, do you think that the AI could help in such?
I just wanted to show you this one here. This method here says, what other ones does this? And it gives you a list. But you can also just
P14 AI actions UK small image.
To the AI
sorry.
Using the
but you can just, and it looks it up, so it's built in, and it lists these things. So that particular thing that the AI does is actually something that is built into small, or at least to Pharo. So many of these aspects you ask about are there already, and that is one thing that is also by the AIs I've been talking to is unique about Smalltalk and Pharo is not the syntax, but the fact that you are working live with real objects as opposed to, oh, we have to restart this stupid program and blah, 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 and over again. So that is, for me, the key difference.
I can also give a bit of an answer to Bernard, because I've been playing also in Pharo with LLMs. LLMs have a very small context. I'm using LLMs on my local machine, so my LLMs have a tiny context that can only work and reason with a limited amount of tokens. So any problems that you want to solve with an LLM can never be big. It cannot understand your whole project, never, not all of it.
No.
So it needs these tools that Kasper's been showing. It needs these tools like what are other senders of, so that it can work its way through code to answer a very specific question.
Mhm.
And that's the only way they can help you. The LLMs are very limited in their size of understanding.
Good. Yeah. Fine.
And one thing that I have been, as I said, I think that comments are something that used to be second-hand things, but for me, they are starting more and more to become not first-hand, but definitely equal. So, as I said, I'm able to ask it to produce a comment that covers this entire thing. This thing here, I can ask it to produce a comment for that, and that means now there is one in a bit. There is a comment for this entire package, and to answer I can't even say your name, Reino.
Reinout, but go ahead.
Reinout. Anyways, so by grouping packages into comments now makes it possible for me to ask my AI, could you please find a class that deals with this topic? And then I hands it 50 of these comments. Then it knows, it is in that package. It's about this. If I'm lucky, there is even a class name. If not, I'll go and ask for more details about that one there. So I will ask at several levels. So for me, and I have seen that for one of some of the papers about Pharo, where it was about testing and was way too big. And then I asked it, yes, but could you please read it and make a summary? What is the essence of page, not page, but abstract? No. There was 10.
Abstract? Abstract?
Not abstract. It was number 1, 4 pages.
Table of contents.
Yeah, table of contents, whatever. So I asked it to read it and produce 10 of these. And then when I want to look something up, I first find, it's on pages 7 or 8, and then it reads the entire age and then goes into it. So trying to do it directly is not possible, but trying to do it in a few steps is possible.
All right, I have a question, Kasper.
Yes.
So as you deal with the AI, the AI is learning about your work, correct? All the conversations that you have. Or does it actually just forget and a new promise totally blank again?
It's a good question. And here I create a history which is sent. If I don't specify it, it is sent to the AI that is this one here. And I could go and say I wanted to use this one here, and that was Claude. So we have to go to Claude here and says that's number 2. We'll repeat number 3, do, and then that's the one. Okay. So when I go and ask a question here, sort of it says, make a new history. And that new history, each history has its own set of AIs it connects to. And here, if you don't specify it, it uses the currently default one. And as you can see, It says new here, and it doesn't say store it anywhere. So next time I do a Q1, there is no memory of that has ever been asked before.
So this brings up a point that I think
just living. So for me, that is an important thing, because if it had memory, I couldn't test. Because then asking the first question would be different from asking a second, which would be different than asking the third, because then there was memory. But using this specific structure here prevents history. And hence, I know that I can ask it again and again and again and again. So
yeah, okay, I understand. That's fine. The thing is this: one of the problems with Pharo or Smalltalk is that our community is small.
Yes.
And AI has how to say, AI has learned from what is on the internet, and that body of knowledge is not very big.
No.
So a very useful thing would be for AI to be fed more and more about Pharo, about Smalltalk, so that AI on the internet becomes smarter faster.
Yes.
So all the interactions that you are doing right now should actually somehow contribute to that intelligence of Smalltalk.
Yes and no. Yes and no. Because what people are saying here, and that is before I returned to Smalltalk, I was trying to make a piece of code in Java, the one that's on the web, JavaScript.
JavaScript, yeah, JavaScript.
Yes. And it was quite clear that if you ask it to write a code that was something like 10 lines long, yes, it worked. I asked it to write something where the answer would be about 50 words long. Yes, it worked. 100 page, yes, it worked. 150. In that case, it had a tendency to forget some of the previous ones. So it would be 150 long, but it wouldn't include a key thing. Then I would say, but you have forgotten the key thing. Yes, sorry about it. And then it included the key thing, but forgot something else. So all of these languages who are well known have a tendency to be forgotten. They cannot make large classes. And the same goes for if you try to ask it to write a paper, scientific paper, it can't. It cannot write anything meaningful if it's about more than one page, one A4 page, something like this. It can write something like that, but not very much more, because then it starts disappearing, etc. So you actually have to be more careful there. And
true, but I mean, right now, if you ask it to write Pharo, you can't even write 10 lines, right?
It's funny because Grok is one of those who has absolutely no memory. If you start a new chat, it has no idea that we ever talked about anything before. And while that can be annoying, it can also be my wonderful gay place to play around, because it has no memory. So to ask it, what is the benefit? No, I can't remember the details, but I was rather neutral, but introduced the idea of Pharo. And what is the advantages of Pharo compared to Python? Neutral. Didn't ask it to have a position in that thing there. And it said, Pharo or Smalltalk has a simpler syntax. Much simpler. For an AI, it is significantly easier to understand since there is not a gigazillion different things that you can do. There is a very simple syntax. It's like that. And the second thing was, and there was somebody who asked a question, but I can't read. So you just have to take your time. And the other thing it mentioned, which is the key thing for me, is Smalltalk is one of the very, very few languages where the running system is part of the system. Nearly all the other languages do not support that. So there is a difference, and it suggested that if I happen to be a student interested in things, spend a couple of weeks on trying to look into Smalltalk, because it is unique and you should learn about it.
Okay.
I can add some experience to that, if you don't mind.
No.
Because I've been, of course, playing with local LLMs.
Yeah.
And they have a very condensed knowledge of all the programming languages and all the other stuff from the web that has been scraped. And what I noticed is, since I was playing with two different variants of Smalltalk, two different implementations, is that these languages know Pharo, and they did not know the commercial Smalltalk variant. Apparently, because Pharo has a lot more code online that is being scraped for training.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I noticed is that they cannot write Smalltalk methods, but they will write it in tonal format. Because that's what they see on the web, files and not images.
Yes. It is, I have seen the same. And Mistral is one of those that I would clearly recommend, and which is important. And that is because it is French. It is one of the few ones who are actually in Europe and not in the United States. So I thought that was my first one. I wanted to be able to do it like that. But they are small. And for me, this being small, there is one, and I would have to look it up. I think it is called LLA, it's hopeless name, but 3.2. And it is a relatively small AI, but unlike the other small ones, you can hand it a humongous amount of data. So it actually has the possibility to do so. So when you want to pick which ones, and I don't know if you are using Olama, but that is what I have been doing, because that gives me sort of a similarity across many different AIs. And I'm still curious about how to dive deeper than that AI. But it is unique in that sense that it is capable. You actually, it has more than 100,000
tokens.
Focus. Yeah, you can send rather big things to it. It takes forever for it actually to answer it, but so it takes longer and longer the larger it is, but nevertheless it is able to do so. And my background and my thinking has been one of the key things that would be interesting to do was to actually produce a background understanding of the details of Pharo 14, because there are two things that they tend to misunderstand, and one is many AIs fails if you ask them for what is the result of 2 + 3 × 4, because it will have a tendency to say times is higher priority than plus, but in Smalltalk it is by order. That is.
But if you prefix it with in Smalltalk, what is so and so, will it get it right?
But even telling it that it's in Smalltalk, the idea that times has higher priority than plus is built so deep into them that they can't do it. But when they're really big, they can. Mistral cannot. But if I tell it, the rules are this, it's called this and this, you have to do it like that, then it can. So they're different. But I was curious, what kind of model are you using for the local ones?
I've been experimenting with all kinds of the latest one. So the latest one I was playing was a Minimax M2 something was the latest I played with, which is quite young.
What kind of AI? What kind of code are you using to access it?
I'm using the LM Studio as the server for me, and I'm using the responses API because that's just been open sourced and open standard now.
Yeah, cool. Yeah,
I have a question for everybody because I have not tried this, but has anybody tried to fine-tune any AIs for Smalltalk?
Yeah, I do that quite a lot.
That I think it should be a big goal for us.
Yeah, I've been doing a lot of that. I've written an MCP server that basically just exposes some object in the system and another tool that lets it send messages and just lets it go nuts and explore on its own like a person would. I wouldn't expect, even an experienced Smalltalk programmer to know everything about a particular object memory. I would give them tools and let them explore it. And AI is the same.
And what's the result, Craig?
The results are very good. I've been pair programming with a couple of chatbots using this MCP server for a while. And it works very well. And if you're also pretty good about two other things, it works very well. The first is giving good steering guidance. There's sort of a standard that's emerged around that, this agent.md file, where you're basically just writing a big elaborate system prompt, and you can do some post-training there, just sort of setting, framing context about what Smalltalk is and, various programming conventions and things not to do. And the other is externalizing in a persistent way any good insights that you get from a conversation as early and as often as possible. Don't wait for the context window to fill up to try to get the AI to summarize the conversation. It should be writing in a way that future agents can read every useful thing it learns as soon as it learns it. Because the context window is basically just this big pile of goo. If there's anything useful in there, you want to get it out of there as soon as you can.
So is it available to the public right now?
Yeah, if you go to the Caffeine site, caffeine.js.org, my working image is always there. It's not every time I snapshot, but fairly often. I gave a presentation about this. Sorry?
I just wanted to show you a small success, and that is I have been wondering if I could ask an AI to produce test code. And I just wanted to show you this piece here is something where I asked it, basically I just asked it to generate the test code for this method in this class, okay? Of course, it's not just that simple. It's a humongous amount of thing, but now it's able to produce it, and as and they are producing test codes that dives deep and actually returns right things. So it's not hopeless, but it's definitely it is one of the open issues for me. Did you do something similar, Greg?
Sorry, can you summarize that again?
Creating tests works pretty fine with LLMs. I've done that a lot.
Yes. Yeah.
They are pretty shallow, often not as sharp as you would want them to be. On the other hand, characterization tests, there are different kinds of tests that they make better than I do.
Yeah, and there's some overlap with some of the actual harnesses I've been using that have agents in them. Some of these coding assistant IDEs are very test-minded. I hate mentioning individual products, but there's one called Kiro from Amazon Web Services, Kiro, that is very test-minded and is just more amenable to this sort of thing.
Okay, excellent work, but does this knowledge or this work get fed into the giant LLM chatbot, so that it's then, that the knowledge of Smalltalk in general increases for everyone?
The big frontier model makers are definitely scraping API calls for this sort of thing. So if you're using anything from Anthropic or OpenAI or Google, the answer is yes.
But you have to call the APIs, and not just
any interaction you have
anything
with them, whether it's through their web app chatbot or through the API, anything, any of their products, yes, they're scraping everything you say to them.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if you pay for it, you can tell them not to.
I have zero confidence in them actually
doing that. Yeah.
Well, unless it's an enterprise product that you're buying where they have to actually be HIPAA compliant with all the health laws around the world, I would give them the benefit of the doubt there so far. But yeah, in general, I don't trust them.
I would not give them the benefit of the doubt there at all, because basically the only way they can learn now is from using those calls.
Oh, yeah, the HIPAA violation fines are so immense, it would end OpenAI's business for sure if they got caught doing that.
That would only be the case if there would be regulation being enforced. And I have
it
no
isn't in the US. It's enforced for sure. In the US, it's enforced for sure. I have friends in psychology and speech therapy in the US who are using HIPAA compliant Google things. And they had to do amazingly detailed audits with Google to even start using their stuff. And all I can say is, those professional friends of mine trust them. So they're at least trying to be compliant for some of their customers.
Correct. I mean, so that's the thing that I feel we can help by making the public this extra knowledge or whatever knowledge is created go into some public place where we say we are welcome to use it. We don't have a system for that right now. Reinhard mentioned that all the snapshots in GitHub and all not readable in text. Perhaps we should always file out instead or something. At some point, we just file out Pharo 14 and every Pharo 15, and every time that comes up, we just file it out as opposed to save as an image. Perhaps we can do something like that.
Well, that's where Pharo is doing a good job, because the tonal format is in GitHub, right? So like all the stuff is in essentially markdown format in readable places.
Is the base image in that sense already exported?
I know, but that, like you said, doesn't translate back to Smalltalk when I want a Smalltalk command or a method.
The lesson for me, sorry.
Yeah, I would say tonal is fairly close to the bang syntax, right? It's just a slight modification, so you can read it. You can code in it in a text editor, right? It's not a million miles from it. I mean, it sucks kind of, but
okay. In that case, is there a method where if I paste tonal in method pane, that Pharo could just translate that to Smalltalk?
I think this is where the tools come in. That we already can have tools that as the weather. You can also have a tool that says, "Here's tonal, make it into compiled code."
Yeah, having a model that knows how to use tools is so much more important than anything it knows from its pre-training.
Yeah.
Yes. and there is at the LLM side, there is sort of a priority, and you can explicitly ask it not to guess But if you don't specify it, it will do it. So you have to turn it off. So you have to tell it, I do not want any guesses from your side. If you don't know, tell me you do not know. And it is because a simple thing was that those who built this thing from the beginning wanted it to be polite. They didn't want it to be useful. So you have to specify that. And then you have to be careful with the different tools you make, because you tell the AI, if the user is prompting for blah, I should use the blah blah method. If the user is prompting for I should prompt the method. But and ba shouldn't be too close. It should be easy for it to tell the difference. Otherwise, and I've tested that. Otherwise, it will use this one and then this one randomly, because if your question was not clear enough. And the one thing that was in the example I showed you was that if I asked it 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 times 6, 7 or something like that, or with an arrow. The actual thing is that with the arrow doesn't exist in Smalltalk. But it was nevertheless clear to understand that that was what it meant. Similarly, I could write 107 faculty with an exclamation mark, and it realized, I have to ask a different question. I have to actually ask faculty or something like that. So there are something that is going on there that is useful, but my feeling is the AIs are not good at coding, but they are very good. And the two things I wanted to sort of highlight from this was writing comments. I am no longer interested in having comments sit in my Smalltalk code because they have a specific picture. So is this for a beginner? Is this for an expert? Is this for an overlook? Is this for Danish? Should it be in British? And shouldn't it be in British and rather than the stupid language of English, of United States, etc.? So there is that thing. And then there is this thing of getting an overview that I understand, which was UML, but anything would work. So yeah. So it's for me, as I showed you before, I had these tests. Do they always produce right tests for me? No. I just showed you that sometimes it does. But if I want to write tests for a method, is it better what it writes? No. Am I saving time by having it sketch a test? Absolutely. It's much easier for me to fix that thing there than actually write it. And I have actually a few times had the surprising thing that it wrote a test that found an error in the actual code and my code, but it actually found a test that failed, and it was actually because the code was wrong, not it.
Kasper?
Yes.
How do you train it to recognize your tools? Like you've got this tool set. How does it know that it should use the evaluate method or the?
Yes, it's a very good question, and it took me a while to figure out. They don't know anything. So when you feel that you train it to something, the only thing that actually happens is that the message you send to it is larger. The AI do not know anything but what it was built with from the beginning.
But how do you get it to do your callbacks?
Yes. Let me find it because it's a good question, and the callbacks is something that I have from a little more than a week. So let me try to show you here. This one here implements, no, it's actually all the way up here, implements load, and it says call the blah 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 kind of things. Okay, but down here I had to re-implement it, and what it does is that it goes through and looks at the instances of this. So if we take about this one with the weather, it says there's this prompt and that part of the prompt, they go together into so I say what is actually sent to it is written here in this one here. So it says, it's type of type, it's blah of blah, it's blah of blah, 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 blah. So it's a very long description of what is actually being sent. And there is, in my case, 5 of these, and they are all following this structure. And then...
And that's the MCP protocol, isn't it?
Yes. Yes. So that's the LLM or ACE or whatever you call that creature. But that's the protocol, and that piece of code is sent for every prompt you make. The entire thing. So the history do not sit with the AI; it sits with you, and it's rather overwhelming at first, but then it turns out that every question you ask, it sends the entire history. And next time, it's a larger history. And actually, it is so that it is possible, but I haven't seen it done, and I haven't even tried it yet because I only learned about this for about a week ago. But you can ask question number 1, and you tell it about these 3 prompts. Then you ask the next question, and you can tell it about these 7 prompts. Then you can ask the next question, and you tell it about these 4 prompts. So it is not something that is sitting implemented at the LLM side. It is you, the builder of the API that is being sent, that actually decides what is being sent. And you can change it from one prompt to the next.
I can also add to this, because what you were describing is just one of the APIs we have, which is called chat or completions.
Yes.
I've been working with the other API, which is a bit newer, which is responses,
yes,
which does allow you to save the entire conversation at the side of the provider. In my case, that's my local LM studio.
Yeah.
So I just get a unique ID for every prompt that came in and the answer that came back, and then I can continue with just saying, oh, my previous chat was this ID, and then you just you don't need to send the entire history, just one new prompt.
Yeah.
And this has also very nice things you can play with, because then you can make trees of conversations instead of a linear conversation.
Yeah, yeah. I didn't go into the details of that, but my history here is not a simple history. So it allows me to have one history with a set of prompts, and then I can have another one here that uses the same, the one I just talked about, can have another one here that also uses that, so I don't have to repeat them. But in the end, when I ask my question, this entire string is combined, and then that is sent. So what you are saying is new to me, and also surprising. And it doesn't really change the way the LLM works, but it changes where the code that is handling what is being sent, in my case from Pharo, to that place, you are able to add several layers, and I think that's one of the obvious next ones. Yeah.
Thanks.
Did I answer my question? Your question, Dave?
Yes, thanks, Kasper.
Sure.
I just pasted the open API or the open standard for that, the URL, Kasper.
Okay.
It's in the chat now.
Okay. I'll have to figure out how to look in the chat. Yeah, perfect. Yeah. Yes.
Where are you heading with this project now?
Yes, that's a good question. I'm in the mixture of sort of a gigazillion different directions, and which one should I pick, and which one should I explore more? But at the moment, I actually feel that I am finished with the open question I had. It is quite clear that test generation is uphill. I'm not saying unusual or useless, but it's just, I know what the issues are, and producing the actual test is sort of first I have to I combine a history. So if I go and take a look here, it says the user says so and so, and the AI responded this and this. It's of course fake, but nevertheless, I mean, next time the AI receives a prompt, it receives a long history, but who knows? You can artificially make this set of responses. It doesn't have to be asked. It doesn't have to be answering. So I just generate a fictive list of history, and then in the end I ask it the final question, and then it looks through all of this. So that is another way of trying to tell the LLM about what is Pharo or Smalltalk all about. And this one here goes through and tries to explain how to make tests, what kind of things should be done, what kind of variables can you assume to be, and blah, 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 blah. So all of these do different things. So it's, if one actually tries this, the list of prompts is actually rather big. Yeah.
What is if I write the test and ask the AI to write the code?
Good luck.
Yeah, and the AI has a tendency to change the tests.
Okay.
There was a recent article from Kent Beck, though, that was interesting, where, you know, he mused on, it's easy to say that, but like, you know, if you have a million monkeys typing, ultimately one of them will write the right code. I guess the question is, like, you know, these days, can we have a million AIs all have a go and you pick the best one? And then it is down to like, which is the one that passes all the tests.
And some of them are devoted just to fact checking the other ones.
Yeah, it's, so, you know, we got to kind of rethink some of these sorts of things. You know, the way
if you're interested,
I would rather say something different, and that is asking the AI to write code is too open, too much to every direction, whereas asking it to write tests is much more narrow. So there is in many heads we might be able to do that, but in asking it to write code in general, but tests maybe. And in particular, it would be nice because we hate to write these stupid tests. We want to write something more interesting. So you asked earlier, what kind of things might I pick up? And this is one of them. And the other one is that due a large part of my life, I was a computer scientist who had to write stupid papers rather than doing anything of interest. And apply for money for PhD students, and something that prevented me from actually doing what I like to do. So for me to actually enable it to write proper papers so I can just focus on actually doing what is of my interest, which is the experiments, which is the examples, which is the trying these things out, and then ask it, yes, please write a stupid paper, because I hate those. So writing papers is probably for you, the thing I want to continue with, because I really don't like it to write them, that is.
Kasper?
Yes?
Hey, one question for writing the test. Did you try to pass inside the prompt the whole package?
The whole package is too big.
Even if you pass it as batches?
Yes, it is. It is not a thousands. It's not. It is several millions pieces of code, but you probably never need the whole thing. So strictening it to parts of it would be possible, I think. And I asked it. I think I showed you that I could ask it for something about this one here, this package. Yes, and then that becomes all of these. I can also ask it for larger parts, but at some point in time, the text becomes too big. I know that Gemini were famous less than a month ago about how their AI could receive even larger ones. Yes, but it doesn't read them whole. It's just them. Okay, now I have 1 million. I think I'll look at this one and that one and that one and that one, and then I'll answer. And Gemini is one who actually, in my view, produces the least reliable answers with the highest amount of guessing.
Because there is a context length for the model. Did you try a bigger model with a higher context length?
I have tried, and there are limits in some, but I would rather say that they can receive anything as large as you want to, but the larger it gets, the more risk there is that it is overlooking what is actually the key.
But you could pass how many, let's say...
I can't, it's a good question, but I can't give you an answer, Omar.
Yeah, sure, because I was working on some optimization, and I saw that if you have, for example, 200K as a context length, and your context or your package it's 1,000 or 100, for example, you could pass inside the parameter of the model that my context length is 100. So in this case, you are forcing the model to understand the 100, not letting him choose how much context length he wants.
Yeah, there is another issue, and that is completely the opposite as the Eek, or whatever his first name. I can't read them, so it's not because I don't like you, but nevertheless, some of the AIs, and in particular Claude, has a tendency that you can send a huge file and ask it a question, and it will sort of pick at random and ask answer based on some of it. But if you then send the whole thing once again, but this time with one question more, it will go and look through the whole thing, but now with a different direction point than the original one, and then there is a chance that it might actually find the answer that you're looking for.
Yeah.
That really shows up in coding. We've built systems with Claude, and you notice that at a certain point, when you ask it to make changes to the code, it will only make that to a small part of the code. And then you need to check and ask it to verify and find the other places where it's the similar thing going on, and to fix that and to be very specific. And that's why we built quite a lot of visualization tools to show and verify that the changes that we want are actually happening all over the place.
Yeah.
And that's what Tudor Gerber says, that you need to ask it to build tools to make the changes.
Yeah. My experience has been that I have tried to get help in writing code because I can't read. So I can only understand small pieces of code at a given time. But large code, they don't understand. So the structure of classes, etc., and subclasses, etc., they know about that idea, but they can't do it in practice. It's normally ends up being stupid. However, now you have the chance to look at what I submitted, and I would like to say that these ones here are to a very large degree, in particular this code here, or the one for the weather. The one for the weather is not done by Kasper, or rather 20% is done by me, but the actual output came from one of the other ones. So I was sitting in, not in the Pharo AI, but in one of the other ones, and I was blah 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 blah. And it gave me the wrong method for this. That's fine. So it gave me the wrong one, and now it gave me another one. So you have to go through these discussions. Does it help? For me, it does. For me, it is clearly enabling me to do things I couldn't do before. So, blah.
That's awesome, yeah. I have a suggestion that's slightly off topic. I hear the people here talking about can you code with AIs? There's one person to keep an eye on, that's Steve Yegge. He has made this totally crazy project called Gas Town, where he has several dozens of agents working in parallel. And he created a kind of a hierarchy of personas that can work together in a specific way so that it actually creates workable projects. With totally vibe coding quality. It is horrendous if you look at the code. He says, don't look at the code, just look at the results. Does it work? But it's interesting to look at and read how he built it, just for the technology, the nerding out. One of the things he warns is that it's hellishly expensive.
Yes.
Do you know how large the difference is between the things that Cursor blogged about? Because I've analyze the code of Cursor, where they have this 2 million lines of code they added to create a web browser, and that just doesn't work.
Yeah,
so,
the claim was they did, didn't they? But they didn't. Yeah.
I've been able to verify that it did not work.
I wanted to point you to this piece here. That's for Claude, and basically what this little method here is that I have on the Claude side, not a lot, but 3 different identifiers. And that means that I can ask Claude for 3 different prompts in parallel. Because then the first one will get to this one, and the next one will then move to the next, etc., etc., etc. So these things are possible, and I think that is what Craig said too, is that such things, and Stefan also. So it's not unusual, but it's the only place that I have implemented, and it was merely out of curiosity rather than anything else, because I'm just flapping around trying to get my understanding of things in place. So here it says number, and then if I go to that file, I can see that there is 3 files with different identification things. Then it then switches between blah blah blah. Yeah. Yes. I just wanted to say that in about 5 or so minutes or 10, I would like to sort of end today, because
I think it makes sense to wind up. I appreciate like how long everyone has stayed. To be honest, it's obviously a fascinating topic that we're all very passionate about, and there's a lot of interesting insights from many different levels. So yeah.
And there's one thing I want. That was a very good comment, and there is one thing I want to point to you. And that is the strength of Smalltalk and Pharo being so small, is that we can meet, and there aren't anybody who have been pushing in that direction. If you try to go and do the same things on Python, they have built things, not necessarily the best things, but the Python things, and it is so embedded now that it is now done, whereas it is not yet done in Smalltalk or Pharo. And the other thing is that I can see several of you who have done yours, you have done another one, and somebody have done another one. So that is one of the strengths I see in the whole Smalltalk community, is that everybody moves in different directions. Oh, how annoying! No, how rich! So that's the fun part. So yeah. I think I told you what I have tried. Yeah.
Fascinating perspective. Your special
Really nice.
situation.
Yeah.
Yes. Very stimulating.
Yeah. And if you are knowing of Smalltalk, or rather Pharo 14, the link is what was in the beginning. I can show it again. Whoops.
Yeah. Someone has pasted it in the chat, actually, so that
so it's there, and unlike other AIs that require you to have a setup, etc., I have tried many times. You just download that thing there, and you have Mistral running immediately.
Oh, cool, amazing!
So you download this thing here and say, "What is the capital of Denmark?" ? 0, plonk, and you get the answer. You don't have to do anything.
Thank you for that service.
Yes,
and for me, that was just, it has to be simple to try. It's a mess, but by doing that, and of course, at some point in time, I might have to stop making that public, but I try to put it in my code, and then I immediately, or within half a day, got a message from GitHub saying, "Oh no, you're not allowed.
You cannot do that." Yes. Yeah.
No, but then I just put it in a file that is in a public place, and then nobody's complaining. Anyways, so
thank you, Kasper. And thank you, everyone, for attending and continuing to support this wonderful community. And yeah, and again, Kasper, appreciate you sharing how you're coping with, what for many would be life-changing, but you just like got on with it. Amazing. Thank you.
No, I'm having fun.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
Very inspiring.
Yeah.
And if you ever have to remove that cloud key, you can of course replace it by having a fake service that always returns something like Smalltalk is great.
Yeah.
I can find it and post it to you guys, but it's in the history of what I had. I think it is in the history of a chat, but it was Grok who mentioned that one.
Yeah. Okay, well, I think that's probably good night, everyone, and thanks again.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Cheers.
Thank you for organizing this.
So, Craig, already in the Netherlands or
In a day.
in a day?
Yep.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah, looking forward to it.
Yeah.
Yeah.